Well, howdy, Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this more creative story talk about the Cosmic Horror Framework. I'm sorry it takes me so long between episodes here doing this sort of thing. I am on ADHD meds, but they're not perfect. You do what you can, and so time still flows faster than I feel that it should. And I lose track of things, and then I realize a week has gone by. So, Chapter 1 of the Cosmic Horror Framework. We're going to talk about real quick just normal matter, singularities, multiverses. Because with scientists and the many worlds hypothesis, it is thought that on the quantum level, every time there is a decision to be made, there is a universe that happens where that happens. I'm a writer. I fictionalize all that. So I figure it's not just on the quantum, it's all the way up, So the quarks inside your subatomic particles, every single one of those things, every decision that it can make, there is a universe where it happens. Now I've talked about infinite versus dinfinite numbers, and dinfinite numbers are just, they're normal integers, but they're so incredibly huge that they make our brains pop. There are effectively a dinfinite number of choices per each quark in each subatomic particle. And then each subatomic particle has a dinfinite number of choices, and each atom a dinfinite number, and then you go up, molecules, cell structures, cells, organs, bodies, and that's just inside of a person, one quark working your way up. Every decision we make, every decision that a planet can make, and it's not decisions per se, it's just, heat distribution, probability of motion, each of those things. That's just what normal matter does. So, there is a universe that is just like ours. In fact, this would be the original universe. It is made of normal matter. It is powered by the singularity at the center. Because of that, it is powered for eternal cycling is the best word, I think. Because energy from the singularity comes in, which feeds new events, which is new universes popping into existence. Each one of these has there is another dinfinite number of possible configurations of normal matter. If one atom is here when the universe begins to inflate versus over here, versus over here, versus over here, there are an incredible number of configurations. But it's a normal integer. It's not infinite, but it's enough to make our brains pop, so it's a dinfinite number. So there's all these universes occurring, and they grow, and then they become mature, and then they fade, wither, and die. That happens. That's happening to our universe. Because it's a normal universe with no extra universal energies, it's just the same thing forever and ever. New universes of the same configuration will continue just to be created randomly. Each universe will spawn, but each thing, because there's only so many configurations you can have, is the same thing. So as a physical property, it will always be happening, and as a process through time, it will be endless recycling of the same universes forever and ever. An infinite process through time. And that's fine. But multiverses too can split. There is a race of beings that is, now the only way I can put this is, out here where we are, we're in the Ungarden. Figuratively and metaphorically, the next zone of the universe, the Ungare, well, we're in the Ungarden, there's the Ungare, and then there's the closest zone, there's the Ungara. Again, metaphorically and figuratively, our entire electromagnetic spectrum is effectively just the visible light spectrum of the full spectrum that's available in the Ungare. That's the next zone up. And the next zone further, their entire electromagnetic spectrum is effectively just the visible light spectrum of the Angara's full spectrum. So each zone is so much more real. There are so many more possibilities. Neurons can make more connections. Physical things can make more connections between each other. It is strange and unusual. Even in a regular universe, because that's still normal matter and there's no extra universal energies. So these are all repeated and these are all repeated. But there is a couple levels up from that, another race of beings that I can't figure out what they would be. Very powerful. I'm a 3+1 creature just like everybody else. My brain doesn't work like extra universal beings. I don't know how it would happen, but they wanted to build a city, an infinite city with infinite room, infinite wealth and resources, and infinite time. It was a philosophical, theological, energy and mechanical marvel. They sank foundations into the body of the multiverse and then built this city that is truly infinite. Physically, it goes in all directions for eternity. Never stops. And it will continue as an infinite process through time. And this city, after they built it, and not only built it, but with a process that no matter how far back you look in time, the process is it existed here plus 1 second more. So no matter how far you look back, the city has always existed. And the city will always exist. And it is infinite in size, and they peopled it with an infinite number of people. Truly infinite. Not infinite, not just large, but, cut it in half and they're both still infinitely large. Cut it into an infinite number of smaller pieces, they're all still infinitely large, an infinite number of people. The city was designed to take care of the people, and it did so and was able to do so. It was able to maintain an infinite city, infinite resources, and then maintain, feed, house, and infinitely enrich an infinite number of people. And it did so. The city loved its people, and the people felt it, and it resonated, and the people loved the city, and it felt it, and it resonated. This mild energy flowed out and around the multiverse. Every universe is sort of hugged by this feeling of love and joy. And in that multiverse, that's what they feel forever. There is the city, the multiverse is a part of the city because it's got its foundation sank in, but the city is not a part of the multiverse. There is no sort of traffic or information passage between the two of them. A third time the multiverse splits is when the cosmic horror Amaterasu comes swimming out of the Ungada, the void. Now this is kind of impossible because really quick I had figured that energy from the singularity is coming from a higher reality level down to ours. That energy there's a process, I have to describe it on another time, but I'm going to, where there's like step down transformers that the singularities do. As they pass through, it goes from energy that we can't use to partially moved into something the singularity can work with, and it radiates the transmitted energy out into normal energy. It is a terribly inefficient process. It's about 1% of the energy makes it through in each step. But down here, when a universe dies, when all matter decays, because this is something that happens, matter decays, it goes away. Particles, they destroy each other, and in time, matter fades back to energy. in these universes, which will happen to ours in time because of that, all matter has become energy. And all energy has reached its lowest possible rest state. So there is no matter, and there never will be matter, because the energy is far down level, non-energetic, max entropy. So because the energy is flat, there's no matter. Because there's no matter, there's no curvature of space-time. Because there's no curvature of space-time, there's no time. Nothing happens there. Nothing will. It can't interact with anything. Nothing can interact with it. You can't go there. There's no there there. Nothing can leave there. There's no there there. It is locked away, stable, as an endless, infinite process through time. So all this energy just comes pouring in, and it's used and locked away. The Ungada, the void, is effectively that mathematical point of the stable universe that nothing can ever interact with again, except it has an infinite volume. And it was metastable, but there was an event much, much, much higher up that tore a hole and the singularity. And from there, in this space that is no space, infinite volume but locked away, if you enter it, you freeze out, become stable, and you're gone forever, eternity. Amaterasu came swimming out of the Ungada, another multiverse entirely. It was at that point that the multiverse split again, because she came swimming for the city, and the city is not a part of the multiverse. And she came swimming out of the Ungada, the void, straight for the city. They had a choice. Do we evacuate and run? Do we fight and lose a lot of people? Or what do we do? One multiverse, the one that I write most of my stories in, they evacuated. An infinitely large area with infinite volume and infinite surface area filled with an infinite number of individuals. And what is effectively within a 24-hour period, they evacuated entirely. When Amaterasu landed to birth her children, it was an infinite-sized, abandoned city. There is another multiverse that split. They decided to fight. Two multiverses split from that. In one, they fought until the numbers of dead rose up too high for even them. There are an infinite number of individuals, but each individual in the infinite city is an actual unique individual. There are an infinite number of them. And any one of them that perishes is uniquely gone for eternity. The first city that fights and then quits, they kill 3 of Amaterasu's children. 3 others take off. 6 live, and so many of their citizens have died that they just say, that is enough. Too much suffering, they can have it. And they leave. They evacuate at that point. In the other city, they fight. They kill the 3 children. 3 others run off, and they push the remaining 6 and Amaterasu out. They're able to successfully fight them off and retain their city. But to be safe and sane in that city, in case something else happens, in that multiverse, because of their militaristic bent, where they have to be ready, that feeds out into the rest of the multiverse. Now, in the main multiverse where they evacuated, unfortunately, because the city was made to house and love its citizens, when the people of the city had to evacuate, the city was left behind. When they created it before, they thought they had made an infinite process, but instead they made an infinite process. It was created, and they did not know that at some point Amaterasu was going to show up. Because at that point, after the city leave, after the city leave. After the people of the city leave, the city process is now an infinite process through time with no one there. It feels infinite sadness, and it will feel infinite sadness for an infinite amount of time. The people are gone. They will never come back. How long are the people going to be gone? Look at it as a process through time. How long have they been gone? Add 1 year, repeat. And for every click of the universe's clock, the multiverse, the smallest length of time, where we have things like femtoseconds. There are enough femtoseconds in 1 second that there are more of those than there are regular seconds between the time the dinosaurs died and right now. We have other measurements that are effectively that many smaller things inside of a femtosecond. Like, it's not called this, but like a Planck second, the smallest click of time, that is the moment. And it is going to be feeling mourning, grief, and fear for the future for an infinite amount of time. It will never fade. Also, one of the reasons it has issues is the people built it to be infinite through time. The singularity powering all this is blaring out lots of energy everywhere. The people of the city know how to efficiently. They know how to efficiently capture. They knew how to efficiently capture the energy. Every click of the clock, there is enough energy for the city to be completely and fully repaired, and as such, it is an infinite process through time. The only thing that it's semi-happy about right now in our multiverse is that there's 2 of the cosmic horrors that stay in the city. And when they pass away or leave, then it will be alone forever. So there's a lot of multiverses, and I generally write stories or want to, in kind of like all of them. As a real quick aside, if you watch TV shows like American Dad or whatever, I figure that sort of show, because there's not a lot of continuity, oftentimes many of the characters die in the show, and then the next episode everything's fine. It's just out of a multiverse. There are literally an infinite number of universes just like ours, where the only difference between me and another me in a different universe is that on the other side of the visible universe, on this one planet, on a beach, there's a grain of sand where in this one atom, this one quark did something a little bit different. And there are effectively an infinite number of those where there is no difference except for that one thing. And that's the very beginning of the Cosmic Horror Framework. I hope you've enjoyed this first chapter on universes. There's a lot that I forget. I am disorganized, and most of it's still in my head, so thumbs up. Again, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's a thumbs up. I hope it gives you stuff to think about. I'm going to come up with more for the next chapter here soon. I got it all up here. I just need to actually do it. So until that time, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is, well, frankly, I think it's a good thing, so thumbs up.